Spike first achieved fame and success with his first feature film back in 1986, She's Gotta Have It. That is, if you didn't see the barbershop movie. Yeah. Joe's, what was it called, Joe's?
Joe's Bedside Barbershop. We cut heads.
Cost $175,000 to make, grossed many millions of dollars. Nominated for a Best Screenplay Oscar in 1989 for the controversial drama about race relations called Do the Right Thing. That movie was so talked about in a pre-internet age. Spike directed Denzel Washington in Malcolm X, Oscar nomination. Movie later selected for preservation in the National Film Registry by the Library of Congress. Won the Emmy Award for his documentary on Hurricane Katrina when the levees broke, a Requiem in 4 acts. And I'm getting out of breath here.
I feel like this is your life.
Yes.
Oh, that's just a small piece.
And thanks for coming by.
This is the smallest part of your life. Thank you so much. Good to see you.
Spike's got a new film coming out next week. It's called The Sweet Blood of Jesus, which is described as a new kind of love story about human beings who are addicted to blood.
Impeccable grounds. You must be doing all right.
I get by.
What's your first name?
I beg your pardon.
Now don't tell me your mother named you Dr. Green. It's very unfriendly.
Yes.
Ganja. Do you mind if I go straight to my room? I haven't changed since Amsterdam.
It's the first room on the right at the top of the stairs. I can take you up.
I can find it myself. Why don't you find me a glass of red wine? Please.
A glass of red wine.
Or blood at some point, perhaps, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you were to describe the movie, you know, there's no particular genre for this movie.
I don't think one's been created yet. So.
No, it is. I guess it's a Spike Lee joint. What can I say?
You know, that's all you need. That's all you need.
Spike Lee joint.
But this film is a reimagination of a film that was made back in the mid-'70s called Ganja and Hess, written and directed by the late great Bill Gunn. And I saw it in film school when I was at NYU Graduate Film School, and so I never thought about doing that. But as a professor, I got introduced to crowdsourcing by my students. A lot of my students in the NYU Grad Film School were using Indiegogo and Kickstarter to finish their films. And they said, Professor Lee, maybe you should do a film on Kickstarter. So that's how we financed this film.
So all through the donations then?
Yeah, we raised $1.4 million on Kickstarter for this film.
Yes. I mean, if your name were Jonathan Lee, maybe not, right?
No, I mean, LeVar Burton raised like $5 million for Reading Rainbow. So, I mean, a lot of people, a lot of artists are utilizing, drawing on their fan base.
And that's real freedom. It's I mean, you've always marched in your own drummer, but when you've had movies financed by other people, studios, you hear that their drum as well.
That's part of the business.
Yeah.
But there is a freedom when you've been given the grace by your fan base. Here's the money, make the film you want. So very, very happy with it.
And you even used the music. I mean, that was all solicited on Twitter, right?
Well, the great Bruce Hornsby did the score. But I knew I needed space for songs. So using my social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, I put a call out for unsigned artists to submit stuff. So I had 800 songs submitted. I listened to all 800, and I selected 12. Went to my friend, Mr. L.A. Reid, who runs Epic Records, told him, please, let's have a soundtrack album. So we put it out. We have it out now, all these unsigned artists.
This is really do-it-yourself.
Well, this is not new because, you know, we were doing Kickstarter back in the day before it was Kickstarter, the basic, the foundation. She's Gonna Have It, the first film, that cost $175,000. You know, there was no email, you know, all that stuff, but we still had the scrounge, use the principles of raising funds to get the finance, to get the film.
Back in those, I don't know the fundraising for that. Usually, you go to the cousins.
Yeah, family.
Yeah,
I mean,
right. Yeah.
Well, I went to family on this too.
Let me ask you about that movie because that's when a lot of people became aware of you.
Right.
It was almost like a pre-feminist, feminist movie, etc. I heard you say, you know, when I made that movie, I really didn't know what I was doing.
That's true.
What were you doing?
It was my first. It was my first feature film. We shot in 12 days, and
Did you have any expectations for it?
Oh, I knew it was going to be. If I could, if I prayed to God that if I could get the money, I knew there's an audience for this film.
Mm-hmm.
I was positive of it. It was just a matter of getting the money to make it.
So when the Spike Lee now
Right.
looks back at that movie, what is your review of it?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I said this before. People ask me if anything I could change. I've done over 40. Forget it. A lot of stuff. But everything I've done, the only thing I would change is there's a rape scene, and She's to Have It, which should not have been there. It did not treat rape the violation that it is. That's the one thing I would change.
And did you know that then, or that's something you've realized as you?
If I knew that then, I would have put it in.
But as you.
Oh yeah. As I got older, more mature. That was stupid.
Yeah. All right. So now on to this movie.
Yes.
As you say, this is your probably 40th or
I stopped counting.
something like that. Something like that. The elements in this movie. First of all, you shot it in Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts.
Shot in Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah, and it is a dark movie, but it's a funny movie.
Well, I like to mix stuff up. For me, I just it's boring if something's one note. I mean, Do the Right Thing, for example, is a very serious film, but it's also very funny. So you can. And Billy Wilder was the master of mixing stuff like that. So with this film is about people addicted to blood. They're not vampires. They need blood.
They just need.
Yeah.
To live, and there's only so many blood banks you can rob. Then you have to find other means to stay alive.
And there's sex in it, and it's
Oh, yeah, a
very,
lot of that.
There's a lot of sex in it.
very sexual.
There's sex
right?
and blood in it.
Sex and blood.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of sex in this one.